On Sunday, big-hitting Alexander McColgan powered the New York-based Creole Volleyball Club to their third straight hold on the men's title at the Venus International Invitational Volleyball Tournament at the Alfred Sankster Auditorium at the campus of the University of Technology in Jamaica. Creole beat Venus men by 3-0.
Volleyball is over here, and Creole are your champions over Venus in 3 sets. It's 25-22, 25-20, 27-25. That final set was, well, in a word, epic. And you could see where Venus were trying for all their worth to take this into a fourth set at least, but Creole, too much for them in the end.
Yes, you know, those final points was where Creole actually turned up the pressure on Venus. Venus tried to come back big, but it didn't really work for them. They had some good points along the stretch, but Creole just held their ground, and McColgan, he was the golden boy for them, who really got them back in this game and kept them into it.
Well, with a player like McColgan, you definitely would have expected all this adrenaline to flow, and he started the game on a high. He knew what the prize was, and then, you know, Jack, as usual, he's always going to be the one who intensifies everything that he does here. And this team came to win, came to play, and they did here.
Was there anything that Venus could have done in particular to thwart Creole?
You see, they competed, but the thing about it, I believe that they made some errors along the stretch. In terms of blocking errors, there were some serving errors and attacking errors.
Like that one?
Which turned out to be really crucial when they needed it. So that in itself allowed Creole to get back their rhythm and get back into their game. They didn't really do much.
All right, so in the women's final, Venus ended their 24-year title drought by scoring a 3-0 win over the defending champions UWI. And to discuss the win, we are joined by head coach of Venus, Owen Leslie. First of all, Owen, great to have you on the Sports Max Zone. Before we get to the success of your team, a quick comment on the tournament overall. There was a break and the tournament returns for 2018. How was the atmosphere? How was the overall tournament?
Very well. We break for a year just to put the tournament in gear. We made a shift this year to have a big tournament, very different from the previous years. So this one was very successful. We got a lot of teams in. It was very competitive, as you can see, and the teams enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, well, Venus weren't able to complete the double because they lost the men's final, but the women's team, dominant over UWI from, I think, midway the first set. It was very obvious that UWI were struggling against your team.
Yes, well, earlier during the tournament, we were doing our checks, we were doing our scouting. So we look at their strong points and we look at our weaknesses. We hide our weaknesses and we execute in the areas of their weaknesses. We try our best to take out their strong players, and our team players, we gave them the instruction, they followed the instruction to the T, and we came home.
Yeah, what's the feeling like completing your first title in 24 years?
Yes, very exciting. On the female side is very challenging because most times in our club, the players, as they develop, they move away with scholarship. So it's very hard to keep the female team together.
Continuity.
Right. So it's very exciting for us to have the female going because there's a lot of opportunity for female volleyball, and we're trying to get the youngsters to identify that there are opportunity for them and to keep Venus alive.
Yeah, chemistry is very important in every sport, Owen. I think it's particularly so where volleyball is concerned. Within the Venus women's setup, how many of the players actually played with each other before knew each other's game?
About four were playing with each other before, so they have their little chemistry there.
And you had the rest of them from overseas first-timers?
Yes.
Right, so the question is, if it took you so long between women's titles, 24 years, what do you think is necessary to build on this year's success where the women are concerned?
Building is more exposure, a lot of more training and stuff, but the game your strength and your confidence come from more exposure at high level. At this is one of the highest level of club volleyball in Jamaica, and if we can have more of these tournaments, and Venus is planning to take our team overseas to give them the exposure.
Yeah.
Just before you go, Lance, how long were you able to pull all the ladies together in the pool so that you could practice for this tournament? Because I guess that's also a significant factor in determining how you're going to do in the tournament.
Yes, over a year. Most of the team that is here in Jamaica are very youngsters from high school. Some of them are not in school, but are out there working and played on the national team, so they get a little more exposure. But as we say, we were on break for a year, so we were putting stuff together. We're trying to get players to play the role, because it's very important. Volleyball you have a lot of specific role in playing volleyball, so you have to have the right components there, to keep the consistency going.
Yeah. Oh, and two things. One, the state of volleyball in the region, the Caribbean as a whole. Trinidad and Tobago leading at the moment.
Yes.
I remember a decade ago, Barbados were very strong, winning like 9 years in a row, and both their men and women's team were pretty strong. Against the quality of volleyball that's played here in the Caribbean, and the point you made just now about opportunities for some of these young players for scholarships to the US, which is a very strong volleyball platform, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Volleyball in the United States is very strong, as you mentioned, and they are looking for players, especially in the female division. And volleyball, they have to be strong, tall, have a good competitive spirit. You can hold the moment, because it's an atmosphere that is very pressuring, and that's the responsibility of the opponent to put you under those stress. So if you are a player that scouts can admire those qualities, definitely you will get the opportunity. At Venus tournament, there were coaches there looking, and over the years, Venus tournament has brought that kind of atmosphere that coaches come and they look and see players that they need.
Yeah, well, we had Quinton, the guy from Curacao, in the zone here last week, and he's a star. He told us he was a star. So I think he has those qualities of an impact kind of player that would impress any scout. Owen, it's been great having you on the Sports Max Zone. We hope the Venus International Tournament doesn't take any more breaks and will happen every single year.
Yes.
Congrats on a good tournament. Congrats to Venus, the women, and the Creole men, the champions of the 2018 championship. Back with more after this.
Thank you.